This was not the first time that Caballero was suspected of a disturbing incident involving a woman that he was pursuing romantically. On March 17th of 2021, a unnamed woman at the Sabal Club apartments where Caballero was found dead called the police shortly before midnight after a black 5-pound gym weight was thrown through her bedroom window. She believed that this was his response to her rejection. One could easily say that this guy escalated.
He had demonstrated a romantic interest in Miya. This was repeatedly rebuffed by Miya.
When 19-year-old Miya Marcano didn't make her flight to go and visit her family naturally became concerned. They weren't able to get her on the phone, so they called local law enforcement and asked them to do a welfare check. Miya lived at the Arden Villa apartments, where she also worked in the leasing office. According to family, deputies searched Miya's apartment with her roommate, where they found evidence of tampering with her window and a dresser blocking the bedroom door from the inside. The sheriff reportedly said that a few suspicious items were found in Miya's apartment, one of which likely being the box cutter that Miya's family told media did not belong to her, that was in her apartment. Even more concerned, after the well check, her family decided to go ahead and drive from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando to look for Miya themselves. The family members, when they got there, said that they found signs of a struggle in her bedroom. Her aunt, Simone Westmus, said that the bedroom was found in disarray after her disappearance, which was not normal for her. And when I first read this stuff, then they were talking about the bed wasn't made, and there was jewelry on the floor, and I'm thinking, if you saw my bedroom, that would not be abnormal, but it was abnormal for her. So that's where context is so important. The word meticulous was actually used to describe Miya's cleanliness. On top of that, the family found blood on Miya's pillow, like a nosebleed, like your head on a pillow and had a nosebleed, her aunt said. Miya, who was a student at Valencia College in Orlando, Florida, was last seen on Friday, September 24th, around 5 p.m. when she got off of work. Armando Caballero, I think is how you pronounce that, 27, was a maintenance worker at Arden Villa Apartments. Before he became a person of interest, he told deputies that he had last seen Miya at work at around 3 p.m.
We now know that a maintenance-issued master key fob, which Caballero was known to be in possession of, was used to enter Miya's apartment Friday afternoon at about 4:30. This would have been about 30 minutes before she finished her shift at the apartment complex.
And a warrant for burglary was eventually issued for his arrest. I just want to take a second to note that while my book, In Case I Murdered, is largely marketed towards people who have some type of intimate partner violence, domestic violence experience, it is literally written for all women, probably from 15 years old and up. It talks in it about the best way to reject somebody. It talks about safe places to go and non-safe places to go. It talks about being pursued by somebody who doesn't want to let go and what you should do in those situations. It talks about how to be safer with your relationships. It talks about how to be safer with your habits. It talks about things you can do to make your home safer. I didn't just write it for women in domestic violence situations. I wrote it for women because most of the time, unless they're informed and they're trained, most of the time women are safe only as long as the guys around them agree that that's okay. And as soon as a guy around them decides that what he wants is more important than what she wants, she's not safe anymore. And that was the case with Miya. What he wanted was more important than her even being alive. She would have benefited from the information. And any female out there would benefit from the information. I have made this really accessible. It is available in ebook, it is available in print, and it is available in audio. Get the information. Be safer. Take some power back in your life. Don't just let it float around out there for any guy around you to determine whether or not you are going to be safe. Let's get back to the video. So to my knowledge, there are 2 videos that have been released of Caballero to this point. The first looks like it was probably recorded on a phone when he showed up the night of her disappearance.
Saw anything suspicious, but nobody knew what was going on. I didn't know this whole thing But no one knows Tati.
But
You keep mentioning Tati and no one knows Tati.
You get a call
the
all of a
roommates
sudden.
don't even know Tati.
You've been sleeping since
you
10
keep
o'clock,
saying
and all of a
Tati is
sudden
a
you're showing
friend.
up here at 4 o'clock in the morning looking for me.
Tati were conversating about it, so I finally, it came
Okay,
up.
but
Should
Tati
I go and
is
see
someone...
if I see anything?
No one knows Tati. That's my whole thing. Not
Tati
even the roommate knows
employee.
Tati. She's an employee, but you keep saying Tati is a friend and that you've all hung out together. No one here knows Tati. All her other friends showed up. Her closest friends that live in the complex were all here with us early on. No one knows Tati. Only you. Whoever Tati is, and Tati's on the phone, she shouldn't even be on the phone right now. As of right now, you have sent obsessive texts to Miya. We have all seen the text. You talked about giving her your life savings. You cash out her money, and you claim that you weren't in touch. It's on text. As a matter of fact, we're going to get a police report to pull your phone records if that's the case. There's evidence of obsession. You're fascinated with me.
It's not only from my side, so don't try to make this.
No one's saying that. It takes.
She's not here to defend herself right now.
Obviously, she's missing. So we're talking to you, who've been going back and forth on text.
That is your family.
Right.
But until we figure out what's going on, just don't beat me up.
Nobody's beating you up.
If I'm guilty,
but you put yourself in the middle right here. You brought yourself over here.
Because we're concerned.
You're concerned. Why weren't you concerned hours ago?
I just found out.
All right, cool, no problem.
So how did Tati find out?
We didn't think it was serious. I don't even know how Tati found out.
Somebody's missing and you don't think it's serious.
Maybe they hanging out. They got this place right here. They go downtown. I don't know. Maybe her phone's off. I don't know what she did.
She would use somebody's phone and call her dad or her grandmother, somebody.
She was supposed to show up for a flight and didn't show up.
Now, any good crime show junkie like myself would have looked at this video and thought, the murderer is inserting himself into the investigation because he wants to see what they know at this point and whether or not they're even close to identifying him. And if he was more of your classic psychopath type of killer, he might have even gotten some excitement out of being able to go and talk to law enforcement and then drive away free. Do you think that he was inserting himself into the investigation? Do you think that he was just a cocky mofo that was like, they don't have anything on me, let me show them how much I can just walk in here, talk to people, and walk right back out? What are your thoughts? So in regards to that video, this is a direct quote from this website, this news publication. The family questioned Caballero and immediately knew he had something to do with their daughter's disappearance. They reported to the deputy who was on scene that a key fob had dropped out of Caballero's lap as he got out of the car. He had Mia's blanket and a black backpack in his car, and the family caught him in several lies regarding his encounters with Mia. So the family pointed all of these things out to the officer that was there. The second video was footage provided by WFTV taken sometime on Saturday afternoon, and it's believed to show Caballero carrying a blanket, a bag, and gloves. Mia's family told reporters that they believed that the items that he was carrying in that video belonged to her. So law enforcement was looking for Caballero to arrest him that weekend, but...
Earlier today, Armando Caballero was found dead at an apartment complex in Seminole County. It appears he has killed himself.
He was found dead from an apparent suicide on Monday at another apartment complex that he worked at when a pair of maintenance workers forced their way into a locked garage. Apparently this garage was normally used for storing paint and was normally unlocked. They forced their way in and found his body. His vehicle was found near the scene of his death and has been taken in to be processed. Mia's cousin was reported to have said if he knew anything, he took that information with him. So at the point that they found his body, they still hadn't found Mia. In fact, Chef Mina said,
we have been actively searching for Caballero this weekend, and I want to reiterate, Mia is still missing. Her disappearance is suspicious, and our detectives and the family members obviously suspect foul play. So we are still doing everything possible we can to find her.
He was just trying to refocus the media. Yes, this guy committed suicide. Yes, his body has been found, but we're still trying to find her. And I appreciated that. Now, throughout this week where they were looking for her, Her family gave multiple very emotional pleas to whoever took her, as well as to her herself.
My name is Pia. I'm the aunt of Mia. Mia, this message is for you. I know you're alive. I know you're out there. We love you. You know our family is strong. You know our family is big. You know we will never sleep one night until we get you home. We miss you. We know that you're strong. Mia, anytime something should happen, fight, because we have your back.
We're determined to find Mia, so that's what powers us through, and we know that if she's fighting, we're fighting.
We need our entire community's help in locating 19-year-old Miya Marcano.
The search for Miya was significant. I actually started doing this video closer to the beginning of the search and watched it progress to the end. Family, friends, law enforcement, and volunteers passed out flyers as they searched both in Orange and Seminole counties. We are not leaving Orlando until we leave with Miya, her aunt said.
The Mobile Command Unit and deputies left this area at New Smyrna Beach just off 3rd Avenue by sunset. And as a way to help with their search, a $15,000 reward is being offered for information that can lead to Miya Marcano. Deputies were seen on foot with drones and on airboats moving through swamps in New Smyrna Beach Friday, hoping to find a sign of Miya Marcano, who has now been missing for 1 week. 2 long days looking in Volusia County after Mia's family said law enforcement told them the cell phone of suspect Armando Caballero pinged in this area.
Her uncle Mark Marcano coached volunteers to leave no stone unturned. Think about if you were kidnapped. What would you want to do? If you're handcuffed or tied to something in a room, you're not going to be right next to the window. So you gotta listen for the faintest sounds. Say her name. Knock on the door and say her name. Divers with the Seminole County Sheriff's Office searched Lake Monroe and near the seawall along the Riverwalk in Sanford. Authorities and volunteers searched the woods around the apartment complex where Caballero committed suicide. Dogs were also used in the searches.
Carol Hilton, a close friend of the family, says loved ones and friends from all over the world have traveled to Central Florida to help look for Miya, arriving from Trinidad, U.S. Virgin Islands, New York, to Texas and Canada.
Her family set up an Instagram account called Bring Miya Home.
Her family not giving up hope. They say they will continue to host these nightly vigils. It's not only to get Miya's name out there and keep it out there, but it's also been something that has helped the family come together each night after they go out and search and come back with no results. They come back here, they gather with the community and see that show of support, and they say that's really helped them continue to push on in this search.
While her family said many touching things to the press, including comments like, "We're looking for you. We're coming for you. You keep holding on. Please keep holding on. We're coming," from Miya's cousin, and "Just drop her off and let us know where to pick her up. Just bring her home," from her grandmother. Sadly, the search for Miya ended tragically when police found a body that they believed to be, and has since proven to be, Miya's.
Obviously, this is not the update that I wanted to give to everyone today. Earlier today, the Orange County Sheriff's Office Emergency Response Team was searching the area of Timberscan Apartments that's off of South Texas Avenue in Orange County, and that's when they discovered a body we believe to be that of Miya Marcano. Everyone wanted this outcome to be different.
He said that Caballero had once lived in those apartments. The cause of Miya's death has not yet been released. We do know that detectives were led to that apartment based on Caballero's phone records that showed he was in that area for about 20 minutes between 8 and 9 p.m. on the night that Miya was missing, and that he never returned to that area. She was found bound with black duct tape on her feet and her hands, and her mouth was also covered with black duct tape. She was found wearing jeans, a bra, and a robe, and her purse was found nearby containing her ID and the shirt that she was last seen wearing. There is no indication that there was sexual assault of any kind, and the cause and the manner of death are yet to be determined by the medical examiner's office, Mina said. He has reiterated that Armando Caballero, quote, is the person responsible for her death, and officials are not looking for other suspects. At the time of this video, officials are still trying to determine if she left her apartment alive or if she was killed in her apartment, and whether or not this was a planned attack. So the investigation is ongoing. The sheriff's office has released a timeline so that you can see what things took place and when. And I didn't know until I read this timeline right before I am doing this recording that Miya's apartment deadbolt was opened at 2:14 p.m. and then it was opened again at 4:34. So he wasn't just in there when she got off work. He was in there before, or he had opened it before. Either way, he had spent hours thinking about this before he did it. At least hours earlier, he was thinking about doing something with Miya. And had it been something that was above board, he wouldn't have felt like he needed to get into her house without her permission. You know what I mean? Armando Caballero had worked at this apartment complex since June of 2021. Mina said that he had demonstrated a romantic interest in Miya and he was repeatedly rebuffed by her. If you look up the word rebuffed, the definition is like unkindly dismissed. And I didn't see the article. I was told that there was a letter to the editor that was written about the use of words like that suggests some victim blaming. There is something to be said for the fact that this girl told him no multiple times, reportedly, and whether she was stern about it or not is not a reason for him to kill her. It's just not. In fact, if she had to get to the point where she was stern with him about it, she's a 19-year-old girl and he's a 27-year-old man. That shouldn't happen anyway. And if she's got to be stern with him about it, there should be looking at him for what kind of a predator he is, not insinuating that somehow she's in the wrong because she didn't kindly tell him no. Maybe she did kindly tell him no at first. We don't know how many times he pushed. Something to think about. You are not allowed as a female in America to say who can and can't be in your life without being labeled as some kind of a jerk. You should be able to. You really have every right to be able to do that. But it is so culturally there that people believe that that's not true. That this guy believed it to the point that he was okay to take her life because she did it.
I think that it's a situation where someone had developed a romantic interest. Obviously, Miya was not interested in this time, so we're still trying to investigate all the circumstances behind this and what exactly happened regarding her disappearance.
Law and Crime and WESH2 both reported that this was not the first time that Caballero was suspected of a disturbing incident involving a woman that he was pursuing romantically. On March 17th of 2021, a 23-year-old woman, according to one report, a 24-year-old woman, according to the other reports, this unnamed woman at the Sabal Club apartments where Caballero was found dead, called the police shortly before midnight after a black 5-pound gym weight was thrown through her bedroom window. Although she didn't see who did it, she told them that she believed it was Caballero. She said Armando, that's his first name, maintenance guy for the apartments, who had recently written her a note asking for a date. She had initially agreed to the date, but when he asked to hang out sooner, she said that she couldn't, and she believed that this was his response to her rejection. It was reported that authorities believed her and took his fingerprints from the letter, the note, but they couldn't prove that he had thrown the weight because there was no fingerprints found on the weight. The unnamed woman reportedly told authorities she believed Armando was responsible for the attack because he felt rejected, but the case was closed with no charges due to the lack of evidence connecting him to the crime. And I just want to note a couple of things there. A, this woman was a little bit older, didn't go quite as far. B, this person who threw the weight threw it into her bedroom window. I'm willing to bet there's more windows in this apartment than just her bedroom, which suggests intimacy, intimate knowledge of that person, as well as intimate anger, in my opinion. And there were no prints found on this weight. Not there were partial prints, no prints. You know what that requires? That requires the weight having been cleaned of prints and somebody wearing gloves or something like that to throw it in the first place, which means this was definitely like a thought out, planned thing. Suggests a little bit of intelligence and definitely intent in getting back at her for rejecting him, in addition to the fact that it was intimate and in her room. This guy escalated. He went for a younger girl. There's a bigger power play there involved, and he was willing to do damage at the place where he lived, but he wasn't willing to do this kind of extent of crime, and then he wasn't willing to deal with it afterwards, so he killed himself. A lot of cases when it's intimate partner murder suicides, those cases, generally speaking, it's because the person that commits the murder doesn't believe they can live without the other person, so they kill them and then they kill themselves. I don't think that was the case with this guy. I think that this guy knew he wasn't going to get away with it. I think that's it. He was guilty and he knew he was caught, and so he took an easy way out. I don't think he had a connection with Mia to that extent, though, where he didn't think he could live without her. Could be wrong. It would be really interesting to find out if they investigated that and said that, but if they continue to investigate these murders, the media does not continue to report on it, so we will probably not know.
Very minor history. I know he had a burglary charge in Polk County, but no long history that we're aware of.
Mia's father, Miya Marcano, told People she's a very fun-loving, energetic person who loves everybody. So I want to apologize to people that are returning viewers because this video is obviously late. It's late because I have been really triggered by this case, and I've had a really, really hard time sifting through all this stuff. If you know anything about trauma triggers, at least for me in this situation and a lot of other situations, it feels like there's heavy weight on me and I almost physically can't function. So I would do a little bit with this case and then I had to sleep. I was exhausted just from reading stuff. And at first, I didn't understand why I was feeling that way, why I was so triggered. It didn't make sense to me. And then Wednesday, I was having coffee with another woman who's a survivor. We were talking about this case, and I remembered that I had an experience that was similar to this, but not anywhere near as bad when I was about Mia's age. And it's not something that I think about because it's been a long time and nothing ended up coming of it. So it's just something that I filed away. It's not like I don't remember it, but it didn't even occur to me for the first several days that I was dealing with this case. So when I was 17, I moved with my mom to a city. She lived in an apartment building. And at some point while I was there, and it was just the two of us living there, something had happened with the air conditioning, something like that. So I had put in a work order for it. And then this guy came and looked at it. And when my mom got home that evening, I let her know, hey, this guy came and looked at it. And she looked at me really puzzled. And she was like, they came and fixed it yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that. And I was like, well, then what was this guy here for if it was already fixed? Definitely set red flag alarm bells going off type of thing in my head, and obviously hers too by the look on her face, but we just let that go. Well, then a couple of days later, I was getting ready to leave and she was already out in the car, and I noticed a pair of earrings on my bed. So I took them down to her. When I went down there, I said, hey, I found these. They must have fallen out of your Christmas shopping stuff. And she was like, I've never seen those before. Like, I didn't buy those. I've never seen them before. I have no idea where they came from. Where'd you find them? And I said, they were on my bed. And we never spoke of it again. To my knowledge, he never came back. And I don't know if it was the guy that was in there with me or the guy that was in there initially, who I wasn't there for. I was only there for the second one. I didn't notice anything weird about the guy that was in there with me when it happened, other than that my mom said that the work had already been done and therefore they would have no reason to be back. I don't know if this person had been watching me, because at 17, 18 years old, I was not super aware of my surroundings, but this person knew which bed was mine in my house, in my apartment, where just the two of us lived, and we shared a room. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. So there was 2 beds in there, and I still have those earrings because to me, it was a reminder of how close somebody can get. And I've had lots of relationships that were scary. Lots of people tend to be drawn to me that are scary, but most of them I have relationships with. This one I had not, at least not to my knowledge. You know, maybe I interacted with this person. Maybe I had done something that made him think that there was something and I was completely oblivious to it, but obviously, I could have gone on a lot worse if he would have continued to pursue, if he would have continued to watch, and quite frankly, we acted like it didn't happen. That was the defense. Just pretend like that never happened. So could he have continued to be getting into our apartment? Could he have been in there watching me sleep at night? Any of that is possible. Did we think to report it to the apartment management so that they could look for this person? Did not even occur to me at the time. I just wanted it to go away, which is a very common response for victims, at least at first. Just act like it didn't happen, make it go away in your brain, continue on with life as normal, because to acknowledge it is scary. It means you're out of control. It's not a good place to be, but it's reality. So I didn't realize how much that particular memory still weighed on me until I was doing this case. And like I said, halfway through, I figured out why. Before that, I didn't understand why I was so triggered by this case. But man, last week has been brutal. So I apologize if you are a regular viewer and you have been looking for my video and I haven't had one out, but I talked to the trauma therapist. I asked her if we could start talking a little bit about these cases when I come in for therapy every week, because they all are taking an emotional toll on me. It's a very personal subject to me, but some of them take a whole lot more toll than others, this case being one of them. So thank you for watching. And if you're still watching at this point, thank you so much for watching to the end. Thank you for caring about the person that's behind the videos and not just the people that are in the videos, because that's what makes me different from a news station. I cover these because I want to honor them and because I want to teach you, because I know how easily it could have been me. And most people don't have the opportunity to come back and tell people about it later. Those of us that do, I feel like we have a responsibility to. So thank you for hanging out. If you have had any kind of related experience, I would love to read about it in the comments. And if not, then hopefully I will see you with the next video. Until I see you again, stay safe.